If your to-do list never ends and you're still lying in bed at night wondering where the day went, then this video is for you, my friend. Between school drop-offs, project deadlines, permission slips, and figuring out what's for dinner, again, your days probably feel like one big blur of responsibilities. You're not lazy, you're not disorganized, you are just doing a lot. And yet, no matter how much you check off that to-do list, it feels like you are always behind. If you've tried the planners, the color-coded calendars, the digital tools, and they all end up abandoned by week 2, you are definitely not alone. The problem isn't you. The problem is the pressure to manage your time like someone who isn't already stretched to the edge. That's why we're not doing hustle mode productivity today. We're talking about gentle time management, the kind that works with your energy, not against it. Welcome to Reclaim and Reset with Luna, where I help busy, overwhelmed women shift from burnout and survival mode to a life that actually feels a little bit more balanced through mindful productivity, time management strategies, and realistic habits that fit into your day. In today's video, we're diving into gentle time management, what it looks like when you're juggling a full-time job, a family, and all the invisible mental load that comes with being the glue in everybody else's life. And make sure you stick around for tip number 6. It's something that most women skip over, but it's honestly the one practice that helps me stay grounded no matter how messy my life gets. So let's get into it. Step number 1, get clear on what actually matters right now. Let's start by being honest. You can't do everything, but you can do what matters most. And here's the truth that nobody tells us. What matters most will shift season by season. Some weeks, it's surviving the science fair and getting to bed before midnight. Other weeks, it's staying focused on that big work project that you have going on. The trick? You have to name it. Take 5 minutes, grab your notes app or a scrap of paper, even the back of a receipt, and jot down what is truly important right now in your life. Not what should be important, but what actually is important to you. Some examples might be getting dinner on the table with less chaos, finding 20 minutes a day to breathe. Yes, just breathe, not doing something else while you're trying to take those deep breaths. It could be meeting that deadline without losing your mind, rebuilding your morning routine just enough so your day doesn't feel like a sprint. Once you're clear on your top 3 priorities, filter everything else through them. If it doesn't support one of those, it is background noise. It's not a failure. It's just not for right now. It can be put on that back burner. It can be set aside on our little notepad for something to revisit at a later time. Not everything is urgent. And those top priorities that we identify are going to help us become that filter for us to be able to say, okay, in this season, this is what I'm focusing on right now. These are the things that need to be at the top of my list going forward. Okay, so step number 2 then is to build a schedule that breathes. Okay, let's talk schedules. If you have ever made a picture-perfect weekly plan on a Sunday and then felt like a failure by Wednesday, you're not alone. Sometimes it may even fall apart on Monday or Tuesday or whatever day. You get the point, right? But when we're talking gentle time management, the premise is that structure is good, but flexibility is vital. So try breaking your day into rhythms instead of rigid blocks. Think mornings equal focus work before all those interruptions kick in. Afternoons equal lighter admin tasks or emails or kid-related errands. Evenings equal rest, reconnect, or decompress. Time blocking still works here, but it's centered around your energy and the rhythm of your energy levels. With this rhythm, we're going to also build in buffer zones because life will throw curveballs, right? Your kid will forget their permission slip. Your boss will move a meeting, and that dishwasher or sink will leak at some point, right? The win isn't sticking to that perfect plan. It's having enough space in your day to pivot without spiraling. And remember, a rhythm can look simple. It can look like after school pickup equals snack, check homework, tidy the kitchen, and 10 minutes of quiet time with my Kindle before I either hop into dinner prep or running the kids to that next activity. That is a system. It's one that lives in the real world, one that I employ on a regular basis as a full-time working mom. Okay, so step number 3 then is to make self-care a scheduled event and not a bonus. You've heard it before, but I'm going to say it again. Self-care is not optional. Okay, loud enough for those in the back. Self-care is not optional. It is not a luxury. Okay, and I'm not talking about bubble baths and face masks, though. Hey, if that works for you, if that's your self-care style, then go for it. But I'm talking about the kind of self-care that keeps your nervous system from being on high alert 24/7. Things like 10 minutes of silence with your coffee before anyone else is awake in the morning. You don't have to get up at 5 a.m. You don't have to start your routine 30 minutes earlier. Just 10 minutes. That can help really balance you out for the day a little bit. It can help that nervous system reset and not feel like you're constantly in go mode. Another idea might be a midday walk around the block. Even if you have to wear headphones to tune out everyone else, yes, I do this. Even if I'm listening to absolutely nothing, I will pop my earbuds in so that the people around me get the hint that do not stop and try and talk to me. And I don't mean to be antisocial. It's just that I need that time to reset my nervous system. I need somebody not talking to me for 10 minutes. And it might be for you, maybe journaling 1 page before bed instead of scrolling on social media or being on your phone. Whatever it is, right? You get to pick. You get to pick what makes you feel calm, what makes you feel like your nervous system is going to be reset, what kind of things that you enjoy that help you feel relaxed. These don't have to be big, right? And in fact, they shouldn't be big, or they'll become another thing on that to-do list. They'll start to feel like a task or a responsibility or something that you have to do before you can jump into the next part of your day. So making them small is actually the key to making you integrate them into your regular day to help that nervous system reset. And here's another trick. Put it in your calendar, right? Treat it like a dentist appointment or a work call. Show up for it like it matters because you matter. So whether it is that 5 minutes of journaling, that 10-minute walk around the block, whatever that looks like for you, pop it into a little space within your calendar so that it reminds you to get up and do that thing before you hop into the next task or the next meeting that you have to deal with. Right? Show up like it matters. When you take care of your nervous system, your time stretches, your patience expands, you're less reactive, you're more grounded, and everything just feels just that little bit more manageable because you're not on high alert. You're not in stress mode all the time. Okay, step number 4 then is to delegate like a leader, not a martyr. Let's talk about something that is hard for a lot of women, and that is asking for help. But here's the truth. You can't run your whole household and your job and everyone's emotional lives all on your own. That's just not sustainable. So what can you do? Start small. Can your kids pack their own lunches? Even if it's imperfect, even if there are things touching, even if, something that is going to get mushy because they've put it beside something else, it doesn't matter. Let them do it. Can they pack their own lunch? Can they put away their laundry? Even if you have to lower your standards about what the drawers look like, even if you have to go into the room like this as you go to check to put something else in the drawer because you know that they're a disaster, whatever that looks like. Can they wipe the table after dinner? Will you just sit there for a second and finish digesting your last couple of bites, right? What can your kids do? Figure that out. Figure out what that looks like in your household for your systems and routines and their ages, and add something in there, right? What can they do to take a little bit of a load off you? Can your partner handle a couple of weeknight meals? Can they take over bedtime routines, even just twice a week? Maybe they could be the default parent on a Saturday morning so that you can have that slower start to your weekend day. Right? What does that look like? Maybe at work, can you delegate a little bit more than you currently are? Even if that means just giving up a little bit of control over that project, what does that look like? Right? Because when you start treating delegation as a way to create space for what matters, instead of as a sign that you're not doing enough, then everything else shifts, right? This is a big mindset shift. Delegation doesn't mean that you're lazy. It doesn't mean that you're not doing enough. It doesn't mean that you're not giving your all. You just need to create space for those other things in your day, whether that is your work day or your life at home, that matter. Those bigger projects, the needle movers. And in order to do that, we have to delegate off some of these other tasks. Okay, so step 5 in our gentle time management is talking about focus. Focus is a superpower. We need to protect it at all costs, right? Let's be honest, distractions are everywhere. Even as I'm filming this, there is a bird outside of my window doing something with a leaf. I don't know, right? It's distracting. And for moms, it's not just the external interruptions that we have to deal with on a daily basis. It's the mental tabs constantly open in your head, right? Did I sign that trip field form? What am I going to cook for dinner tonight? Oh, shoot, I forgot to follow up with that client, right? All of these things that are constantly going on in our head. Protecting your focus starts with two things. The first one is minimizing external noise. Silence notifications on your phone. Close those tabs on your browser. Turn on a do not disturb sign and just set aside some real focused working blocks. Now, these blocks can be short. They could be 30 minutes. They can be 45 minutes. They can be 60 minutes, whatever that means, right? You don't have to silence your notifications forever and be unavailable to those around you, but create some focused time. Like I said, figure out what block fits in there, and then do what you can to minimize that external noise. And the second one, which I could argue is a little bit more challenging, is managing the internal noise that we constantly have going on. Brain dump everything swirling in your head onto a notepad or an app, whatever it is that you use, before you start that focused work. Right? Get it out of your brain and into a holding spot. That way it doesn't keep circulating or running in the back of your head as you're trying to focus on another task or another project. And you're constantly like, oh, right, I need to do that. Oh, I need to remember that. Brain dump it all, get it all out so we can really clear our brain of all of those excess pieces and focus in on what it is we're trying to sort through or figure out. And if you can, create a designated workspace, even if it's just like a tiny corner in the kitchen, right, with your earbuds and the candle going or something, and let that be your focus zone. Right? This is where you're going to do the work, where you're going to sit down and buckle down and just do it. No, your bedroom is not the best place for a focus zone. That should be your rest and decompress zone. Okay, so don't clear out a little corner of your bedroom and stick in a desk there and try and make that your focus zone. Find another space within your house, whether it is a kitchen or a living room or, a section of your basement or your laundry room, whatever you can kind of carve out. And try the Pomodoro technique, which if you haven't heard of this technique before, it is the idea of you do 25 minutes of work and then you take a 5-minute break. And you do that for 4 rounds, and then you take a little bit of a longer break. But the key is on these breaks to stretch, to grab some water, because hydration also really helps with our focus. But the main point of this is to get away from the screen. So don't just switch from your focused work to then scrolling on your phone or checking your messages or your email or whatever. That's not actually giving your brain that break it needs to be able to reset and refocus for that next 25-minute block. And the thing with all of this is it's not about perfection, right? It's about helping your brain stay engaged without pushing it past its capacity. We have a lot going on as working moms, and there are things that we can do to try and help make sure that we're giving our brain that break that it needs so that we're not pushing ourselves too hard. Okay, and step number 6 is to reflect, adjust, and give yourself grace. So here's the secret sauce. Your time management system should grow with you. Right? And the only way to do that is regular check-ins. So every Friday or maybe Sunday night, if that's easier for you, sit down and ask yourself a couple of questions. Ask yourself, what worked well this week? Where did I feel stretched? What drained me? And what gave me energy? So those 4 questions are what you're going to ask yourself at the end of each week to kind of reflect on how things went. Right? Did you feel super stressed? Did you feel like you were constantly running from one activity to the next? Is there something that worked out really well where you passed off, or maybe you delegated a particular activity to someone and it worked out really well? Sit back and ask yourself those questions. Then you're going to write down 3 things, just 3 things. 1 thing you're going to keep doing, 1 thing you're going to adjust, and 1 thing you're going to let go of. Okay, so from that reflection, that's it. We're just writing down 3 things. We don't need to make another whole to-do list thinking of all the things after we reflected that we now still need to do. This isn't about self-criticism. It isn't about saying, oh my God, this week was a write-off. I should have, I could have, I needed to get X, Y, Z done. Right? This isn't about criticizing what you did or didn't get done. It's about self-awareness. And gentle time management is a living system. It's not a set it and forget it solution. It's not a this is our routine, this is our schedule, and everybody just must stick to it, right? It's not squeezing yourself into what someone else says is the best way to organize your day. It's allowed to evolve, just like you are. As your kids get older, things change. As they join different activities, things change. Different seasons, summer, fall, holidays, all of those things require us to have this living system shift and breathe and work with us. So we need to kind of have those reflections on a regular basis. And when something stops working, that's not a failure. That's information, right? You get to kind of say, okay, that's some feedback there. We need to have a look at maybe what we can try next week one thing we can try next week to see if that solves this particular problem that has somehow broken down along the way. Okay, so let's wrap it up real quick because I know your brain is juggling 47 tabs right now. Gentle time management is about prioritizing what actually matters right now, building flexible rhythms instead of rigid schedules, scheduling self-care as a non-negotiable, delegating with confidence and intention, protecting your focus like the precious resource it is, and reflecting weekly and adjusting with grace. You don't need to be more productive. You don't need to cram more into your day or your week. You do need to feel less pressure. You need space to breathe again. And that is going to be what helps you with organizing and managing your time in your week. If this video gave you something to think about or even just made you feel seen, I'd love for you to stick around, hit that subscribe button for weekly tools and encouragement to help you reclaim your time, reset your mindset, and finally feel like yourself again. And until next time, remember, you've got this. Keep showing up for you, and I will see you in the next video.